All right, what's up, team? This week, for our team devotional, I want to talk to you share a little bit from a book that I've been reading. This short book, but pretty good, called Holy Roar. It's written by Darren Whitehead and Chris Tomlin. And the cool thing about this book is it's about outward expressions of worship, and I'm going to be sharing over the next several weeks, maybe a couple of months from this as we worship with our congregation. I'll be sharing from this because one of my desires for this year is just to encourage our congregation, our people, the people of Gateway, to express worship more fully. And as a worship leader over the years, one of the things I've struggled with is trying to teach people about these expressions, outward expressions of worship. I mean, biblically, because I could say, yeah, let's do this because it engages us. Let's do this because it's an emotional expression. But I've struggled to find those sort of scriptural basis for these things, and I don't want to teach people to do something because I think it's a good idea unless it's in the Bible. And it's been hard to find the scriptural basis for some of these things. But this book is really interesting because the English word praise, turns out, is a lot like the English word for love. That in the Bible, in the New Testament, there are many different Greek words used for love, different kinds of love. They're very specific, but we use one word for it, and so we kind of miss some of that meaning. You're familiar probably with the term agape, which means like unconditional love, but the word praise is kind of the same way in the Old Testament. There are many Hebrew words that are translated to the English word praise, and so the one I want to talk to you guys about today is one that, I don't know, it's one that's probably kind of the most obvious, the most common one probably to talk about, and that's sort of that raising of hands in worship. So in this book, I'm going to share with you a little bit of what they say. Is there any more natural expression of excitement, wonder, or awe than raising your hands? And I hadn't really thought about it this way so much before, but I mean, I thought about, when I watch the LSU Tigers play football, and they do something and they score a touchdown, my hands are in the air. I'm yelling, my hands are up in the air. It is kind of natural to do that. It's just a natural expression of enthusiasm and of celebration. And if you just think about it, I mean, think about, even as kids, I mean, we would, when we wanted to cheer something or celebrate something, I mean, we'd have that raised hand. In the same way, the Hebrew people showed their excitement and enthusiasm for God in praise and worship by raising their hands. And there's a specific word. I'm not going to pronounce any of these Hebrew words, but there is this specific word in Hebrew. It's one of 7 words translated in the Old Testament as praise, and it's found in Scripture like 111 times. This particular word that refers to the raising of hands. And I'll read you some examples. Psalm 145, verse 10 says, "All your works praise you, Lord. Your faithful people extol you." Psalm 67:3, "May the peoples praise you, God. May all the peoples praise you." Both instances of that word praise are this word that means raising hands in praise. Psalm 44:8, "In God we make our boast all day long, and we will praise your name forever." It's an active posture of praise, the book says, expressed by those who adore God. It's an act of praise for all the people of God. So, part of my sort of philosophy as a worship pastor is that worship really involves all of us. It involves our intellect and our emotions and our bodies. It involves all of who we are, because God calls us to love him with all of our heart, soul, mind, strength. And so I want to encourage you this weekend. Most of us on the worship team are probably a little more comfortable with expressing ourselves, but I also know that when you get up on stage, it feels a little different. and you don't want to be too out there, right? But your worship influences our congregation because you and I were worship leaders, and so the way that we worship influences our congregation. It's contagious. The more enthusiastically we can raise our hands and celebrate and sing, whether we're playing an instrument or not. I know that's hard sometimes, playing an instrument, to raise your hands. That's very much my world, right? But I just want to encourage you that whether you're on stage or not this weekend, make an effort to express worship to God, express celebration, express joy. John Calvin refers to the raising of hands as expressing confidence, a confidence in God, faith in God, and longing for God. Express those things that way. I think sometimes of the raising of my hands as just an offering of myself to God, of giving Him myself, giving Him my needs, my wants, my desires, the things that distract me, my sin, my brokenness, all of myself. Use that outward expression this week. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and I look so forward to worshiping with you on Sunday. Take care.